Hello, good afternoon. My name is Wale Olalua, and I welcome you to Leadership Tips for this week. On this special day, this Thursday, it's a very beautiful day, and I believe you have been having a great time in leading people. You have been having a wonderful time in guiding people. So I want to welcome you very warmly. Thank you so much for joining us. Last week, we couldn't come on here for certain reasons that are beyond us, and we thank God that today we are here. And I want to thank you so much for joining us. Listen, I appreciate for every single thing that we do, for every time that you connect with us on this broadcast. This is just leadership. Every Thursday, leadership in every area, in the secular, in the ministry, in the business, leadership in the academy, leadership in different platforms. This is what we do every Thursday. We come here to discuss tips, vital tips that can help us to move our leadership forward so that we can become the best leader and the good leader that people expect us to be. So that is what we do every Thursday in this leadership tips. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Today, I'll be discussing something that is very vital to leaders, very, very vital in leadership. And these things are very unique that we just must take advantage of them. People take it for granted, but it's very, very important. I want to talk about the benefits of communication in leadership. Yes, communication. It sounds so simple, but it's very, very important. That is why people go to school, they go to university. So study communication is a vital component of human development. And as long as you are dealing with human beings, you must understand what communication is all about. But today, I will not be able to break everything down because it's a whole gamut of discussion, gamut of teaching and lecture that it is, but I will just take the benefit. What do we benefit as leaders? Why do we need to communicate? What are those advantages that we take as leaders? Like I said, communication is very essential to human development. It's very essential to understanding people and for people to also understand you. It's not just you understanding people, it is also helpful for people to understand you. And that is why in communication, when you communicate, the purpose is very clear. What do you want to achieve in communication? What exactly do you want to attain in communication? So it's very essential key to unlocking the hearts of people. As a leader, you must understand how to unlock the hearts of people. You don't force people, you don't blackmail people, but you just need to unlock the treasures in their heart. And if you can understand that, you can unlock anything in their heart. You can unlock anything in their hand. Once you understand how to communicate, once you understand exactly what are the benefits of communication, what do you derive by communicating with people, people you lead, people you associate with, everyone, people that work with you, communication is very essential. And that is why we need to discuss that today. Now, I'm going to be starting. What are the benefits of communication? What are the benefits of communication? And let me start this way, that for us to really understand the benefit of communication is for us not to take things for granted at all. And so, number one, to start with, the benefit of communication, it shatters barrier to human relational coexistence. Communication shatters barrier. It removes every blockade. When you communicate with people, there will not be friction. When you communicate with people, there will be serious understanding. They will know what you mean, and you also will understand exactly what they mean. So it shatters barrier to human development, to human coexistence. We need to coexist with people. And as long as you're a leader and you are leading people, don't forget you are dealing with human beings. And sometimes they cross your path. Sometimes things don't go the way you want, but you just must keep understanding them. You just must keep understanding them. If you can understand their psychology, you can understand their emotion, you can understand their reaction, you can understand their response. Everything put together is communication. Communication is beyond just talking and shouting. So many leaders, what they do is to shout. What they do is to scream. That is not communication. Communication, we are taught in mass communication that until what you said or what you passed out is understood by the receiver, you have not communicated. In other words, if you give instruction to people working with you or you delegate them to do certain things and you don't communicate it for them to understand, then you have not communicated. Unlike some leaders that just shout on people, give instruction and walk away, they have not communicated. They have only screamed and shouted. And this is why so many of them, they get disappointed. They get frustrated by the time they return and discover that what they ask people to do has not been done. It's not because they don't want to do it. It's because they do not really understand. And some of them do not want to take the liberty of asking you again, what exactly do you mean? Especially if you are the type of leader that have presented yourself as Alpha and Omega. People will be afraid to ask you questions again and again. So they will not do what you ask them to do because they simply do not understand. So communication shatters those barriers, and that is important. Number 2, communication arrests negative belief, prejudice, and conclusion. A lot of people form opinion. They form negative belief about you, about your work, about your job, your office, your business, your ministry. Not because they understand exactly what you're saying or what you're doing, but some of them just on impulse. They are so prejudiced against you, and there's nothing you can do except you take time to explain yourself, except you take time to let them understand you. This is what I mean. This is the message I'm preaching. This is where we are going. If you don't do that, people who don't communicate, they will always have people misunderstand them. People will always misunderstand you when you don't communicate. I know one thing, if you don't communicate, of course you will give rooms to rumor. And when you give room to rumors, rumors will spread all around. Why? Because you are not communicating. So communication arrests negative belief. It will arrest it, it will seize it, it will not allow rumor to fester. That is why we need to communicate. Number 3, communication dissolves anger and discourage assumption. Communication dissolves anger and discourage assumption. People have a lot of assumption against leaders. They just assume this leader is weak. They just assume this leader is terrible. They just assume this leader is inactive. People have different assumptions because there is no communication. What you are doing as a leader, you must communicate it. People must understand. Even if you are not taking action, let them know why you are not taking action. Even if you are not talking, let them know why you are not talking. But to just keep quiet and to be silent, then you will give room to assumptions. And you know, assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. People don't care. But as long as they can assume, then they can rate you. If they assume that this is what you are doing, which does not represent you, they are already rating you. And that will be bad for leadership work. So please don't give room for people's assumption. At every time, when there are issues to attend to, when there are decisions to take, learn to communicate. Be daring enough, be bold enough to speak about it. Don't leave it to fester. Don't say, I will talk about it later. No, that moment, you need to talk about it. If you cannot talk about it, if you have someone who is speaking on your behalf, let them go and speak about it. Communication is very, very important. Number 4, communication makes people appreciate. Communication makes people appreciate our effort and keep us in the know. When we communicate, people appreciate what we are doing. But when you don't communicate, they don't know. They are in the dark. And when people are in the dark, they are free to assume anything. They are free to conclude anything. But when you communicate, they will know. They will even help you to communicate it better. They will help you spread information. But when you are keeping them away, when you are not talking to them, when you are not engaging them, then there's nothing for them to share on your behalf. So communication is very important because it helps them to appreciate your work. When you communicate, they appreciate. They know the effort you are making. They appreciate everything you are doing to ensure that that work keeps growing. Now, if you're a leader in the office, you're a manager, you must learn to keep talking to people. Every move you are making, carry people along. Carry everyone that is working under you, people who are working with you, carry them along. Don't assume I'm the leader and I decide by myself. If you can decide by yourself, then you don't need people to work with you. But as long as you have people working with you, whether they are your junior or they are your senior, you must keep communicating. Even in the house, there is need for communication. So communication is vital in every area. Number 5, communication eliminates falsehood and rumor mongering. Communication eliminates falsehood and rumor mongering. If you want to eliminate rumor, just communicate. If you can communicate, rumor will disappear. But those who are not communicating, they are giving room for rumor. They are giving room for propaganda. And once there is propaganda, one of the laws of propaganda stipulates that if you keep saying one thing repeatedly, even if it's a lie, people will believe it to be truth. In other words, once you know this is a lie and you keep saying it repeatedly, people will believe it to be true. But in order to avoid that, then you must communicate what is the truth. You must tell what is the truth. You must tell people the state of affairs. You must discuss with them. Where are we? Where are we going? Why are we where we are? Communicate. When you communicate, then rumor will not take its root, or else rumor and propaganda will just take charge. And when rumor and propaganda take charge, it will be difficult to control certain things, reactions in leadership. So you need to do that. And let me add one more. And number 6, communication exposes dysfunctional within organizations. Everyone that is trying to do one or two things, if you communicate very well, you will get to know. Those who are planning, those who are trying to upset the system, those who are trying to do one or two things, once there is official communication, once there is deliberate engagement and communication, they will be exposed, because all their evil planning, all their machinations will come to the open, because people will now know, no, this is the direction, this is the truth, this is where we have to go. Now, this is where I want to end today. I believe these tips will help you to apply serious communication to your leadership. And if you're already communicating, please don't stop communicating. Keep communicating, because it's very, very important. Thank you so much. I look forward to having you again next week when we come for another discussion on leadership. And I believe the one we have shared today will go a long way. If this broadcast is blessing you in any way, please help us share it around. Let people be blessed. There are people out there who think leadership is just about position. There are people out there who think leadership is just because of certificate they have. No, leadership is an art. And because it's an art, we are dealing with human beings. We must understand the art of leadership very well. And these tips will go a long way to help us. I'd like to invite you. I'll be in Ikorodu next week, Wednesday. There is a leadership program that is taking place in Ikorodu, and I'm involved. If you are living around Ikorodu, you can please connect with us there. It will be great. It will be very, very great. You can check all the details on my page. We have the flyer on my page. It's going to be great. We have leadership speakers that are coming, and it's going to be awesome. Bishop Akinloye Ojo will be speaking, and our other leader, our partner coming all the way from abroad will also be there. So please, if you live around Ikorodu, connect with us and let us go and enjoy this leadership conference. It's going to be just one day conference, and it will be great. Thank you so much. Happy Easter to you and your family. I look forward to being with you next week. Thank you so much.